Welcome to Forged in the Fires podcast with Fireman Rob. Being a fireman, father, veteran, husband, world record holder, and Ironman, he brings stories of experience to impact your life while challenging you to live it. What do you want from your life? Why do you want it? Are you willing to go through the challenges to get there? If you have the courage to take that first step, let this podcast be the catalyst to start your fire while you bring the resilience to make it continue to burn. Our lives are made up of moments called right nows. So let's get started. Forged in the Fires podcast with your host, Fireman Rob, begins now.
Today, we're going to have a long conversation with a gentleman who I like to call a great friend. He is, well, let's put it this way. He's a very, very accomplished triathlete. He's a father. He is just started up something amazing called Any Questions. He's the founding chief of staff there at Any Question, and just an all-around great guy. And his voice, you're going to love it because it's Australian. Greg Bennett, great to have you on.
Mate, I was going to say, your voice, it sounds very seductive right now as I listen to you guys. What have you done to your mic? It just sounds so good right now.
Don't tell Laura.
You got this very deep radio voice going on right now. I love it.
Well, you know, you got to have something going for you in this. That's the key.
Mate, I love it. I thanks so much for having me on too. I've been looking forward to this conversation. For people that don't know, we often just banter we say we're going to chat for 15 minutes and then
hours later,
an hour. Actually, even for this episode, I think you booked me in for 30 minutes and I wrote you and said, you might want to
go longer
in this a little bit. Yeah. I'm sorry to everybody listening already. We both do like to rabbit on a little.
Oh, and we'll go all over the place. And you know, your history is quite amazing, and I think a lot of people, you know, in the US don't, you know, I think in triathlon, it's kind of like that secret society that a lot of people in mainstream or corporate or who don't do it don't understand how hard it is to be at the top. And I want to go back to your career because it's pretty prolific. 70 World Cups, 25 podiums, six wins. You know, there's so many different things that you did. What brought you into the world of triathlon to begin with?
Yeah, that's a good question. I was a kid that loved sport, grew up sport, mad family, you know, the Olympics or the Rugby World Cup, Soccer World Cup, didn't matter. We were watching and we lived and breathed it. You know, I grew up with two brothers and we were outside all the time doing some form of sport. And, you know, when I went to high school, our school was all about rugby and rowing. And both of those two things require you to be quite a solid lad. And I wasn't. My older brother was. He was, you know, first 4 rowing, and then he went on to play first 15 rugby and professional rugby. And he had all the true athleticism. And I was just kind of like this runt to some degree that I didn't really grow. You know, I was like this. I was one of the smallest guys. But what I realized, and this is another story, I went down to the boat shed to row just like my older brother.
Yeah.
And they put me in the coxswain seat because I was too small. So I became the coxswain. And I did that for actually a couple of years, a couple of summers. And I actually didn't mind it in the end. I actually learned some leadership roles, you know, in that kind of.
Yeah.
But it was actually doing some running training with the rowers. I was like, oh, these guys are all 2 to 3 years older than me. And, you know, I'm outrunning them. And then I started to realize as the years went on, I enjoyed the running side of things and was reasonable at school, although I never won a running race in all of high school.
Really?
Never won one. I got second many times, but I never won. But I loved it. I loved to run. And when I was about 14, 15, I had a couple of close mates that said, oh, we're going to go out to do this thing called a triathlon. This was in 1986. So it's pretty new.
I was like, brand new.
Yeah. And so they said, Greg, you know, you run. How about you come and do the run for us? And one of us will do the swim, one will do the bike. I said, yeah, why not? How far is the run? They said, 14K. What's that, 9 miles or something for Americans?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, hang on. I run the half mile at school. I'm an 800-meter runner, maybe 1,500, maybe the mile. You're talking about
way too far.
Yeah. It's like, all right. So, but we went out there that morning, and the guy that was going to do the swim had a bit of an asthma attack and said he couldn't do the swim. So I said, you know, well, Greg, you surf a little bit. You can swim. I'm like, how far is it? He's like, well, It's half a mile. It's 800-meter swim. I was like, oh, man. So anyway, I said, yeah, I'll do the swim and I'll do the run. So I did the swim, came out of the water second last, honestly, second last.
Oh, my gosh.
So far back. Handed off to my mate who ended up doing the bike, and he was no better than my swimming, you know. So I was waiting there in transition, like on my own. Like literally it was a ghost town.
Oh, my God.
And then he gave me and tapped my hand, and off I went and did the run. Blew up to pieces with about 2 miles in, and it was a long, long run home. But finished it. And I immediately thought, well, hang on, I can do the bike. If I did the swim and the run, how hard could it be sitting on a bike and going around?
Right.
But it was more about, at that moment, it was the people. It was the camaraderie around the triathlon community that we'd all felt like we've gone to war and come back. And we all had these horror stories that we were sharing. And it was around all of these people. I just felt like everybody here is just trying to get more out of life. These are fascinating, wonderful people. And so I got myself a road bike and entered my first triathlon soon after. And, really never looked back. It was one of those things. I just fell in love with the sport. I did end up realizing I had a little bit of ability. I had some talent for it in the sense that I was a reasonable runner. It took me a while to get the swim going, and I picked up the bike, once I started to grow in my early 20s. But it was, I'm so thankful for my friends for introducing me to the sport and then just meeting all the people along the way. So, yeah, that was 1986. So it goes back a while. Gosh,
and you turned pro in 1990, right?
Yeah. So the way it works in Australia, I was able to go to university. So I my first degree was in actually computer programming, would you believe it or not?
Are you serious?
Well, it was 1990, mate. And I finished school in 89 and I thought,
Did you just pick it out of a hat or what was it?
No. There was some thinking to it.
Okay.
I thought this computer thing could stay around a while. I think I've started to see a few computers turn up in high school, and I was like, I'd never touched one, but they seemed to be turning up in the library. And then there was this degree called computer programming. I thought, well, that would be
way ahead of the curve.
Yeah, we get to. So I went and did computer programming. Had never touched a computer. Turned up with all these people that had been on computers for a couple of years, but I kind of did that. And I didn't love it, but what I did love about it was the learning I got from it. I'm a fairly passionate, emotional thinker, creative thinker, and computer programs all logic. And it trained my brain to think a different way. And I was appreciative for that, the way it trained my brain to work differently, and was far more mathematical, which when it comes to endurance sport, you need to be able to do math on the fly pretty quickly. And so I think it was a valuable tool.
Completely.
Yeah. But then I went back and did a degree in human movement. But my point is, in all that study time that I did, I was still able to start racing as a professional. And that's how I actually, would make a few dollars on a weekend. And
a few dollars. You're a little humble there, Greg.
No. Trust me, in the early 90s, I remember those first pay. I'll never forget. I was working at this.
Did you get a big paycheck? Like one of those big checks like Happy Gilmore?
I had some of those later on. They were pretty fun.
Oh, did you ever keep those?
I have no idea what ended up with most of that stuff. Honestly, I have some of my trophies I know that are in a box somewhere, but honestly, when I think back about the whole career, some of it feels like a bit of a whirlwind. It's like, well, and I have to pinch myself and go, was I that guy that was actually kind of fit for a while? Because that's not me now.
I mean, but that's the crazy thing is you look at your all the things that you accomplished. Like, I'm going to go through them quick so that people truly understand like what you were. And you still are, Greg. Come on, don't sell yourself short. But you won 2 ITU World Series titles, 1 Triathlon World Championship, 6 World Cup titles. You went to the Olympics 3 times, three. Was it 3 times?
I went once, qualified twice, went once.
Okay.
So in 2008, the Australians lost their 3rd spot to the Russian team at the last minute, and so I was, I was off.
If only you would have taken some drugs, did I just go there?
Honestly, I was. It didn't bother me. Honestly, I was having too much fun on the American circuit, where the big prize money was at, and the Australians put me on the team for that 2008, and I was like, oh, really? I'm kind of focused on the Lifetime Fitness Series, which is I'm doing pretty well at, and I'm enjoying that racing. But anyway.
Well, I want to talk about that too, because in 2007 you won all 5. So as the world's richest ever triathlon prize purse, you won all 5 of the Lifetime Series, the Grand Slam City Series. How did you mentally prepare yourself for 5 different? How spread out were they time wise?
Yeah, so the way it was they announced in 2006, anybody that wins all 5 will have this big jackpot of money. And so it started with Minneapolis in early July. Okay. A week after was New York. Actually, 6 days later, I think it was really
6 days.
That was a quick turnaround. Usually,
wow.
Whatever it was pretty quick. And then where we go after that? Chicago then wasn't until end of August. Then we'd have LA in September, and then Dallas in October. So it wasn't too bad. July, August, September, about 4 months that you had to be in kind of peak shape. But I never really focused on the 5. I just focused on the 1. So I was fortunate in that the 06 series, what they did, they said, the 06 series, we're going to give a bonus, $60,000 or whatever for whoever wins the 06 series, or it was $120,000. And the final race of the 06 is going to be Minneapolis in 07, which is the first race of the 07 series. So I had kind of 2 things going for me. One, I was like, well, I have to beat Craig Alexander to win the 06 series, right, and start the 07 series off with a bang. So I really just, focused really hard for about 9-10 months on winning Minneapolis, and won that one. And then I'd won New York the year before, and I knew New York was a course that suited me. So then I won that one. And so it was kind of like, okay, now I've done 2. And then there started to be this, maybe Greg's going to win all 5. I was like, whoa. No. That's true. And I knew Chicago would be really hard because dead flat. And there was a guy by the name of Craig Walton. And Craig Walton was another Aussie who's still to this day, I think, the best swim biker we've ever seen do the sport. He's just a machine. And I knew that to run him down in Chicago was going to be really difficult, and that I could probably give him about 2 minutes, 2.5.
Yeah.
I was running well. In 07, I was running really well. I think I was, in fun runs, I was low 29s and was feeling pretty good about my run. And didn't have much. I was running close to 30 minutes flat off the bike, even a hard bike. So I was like, I know I can give people a little bit. So I was like, okay, 2.5 minutes and I can probably win Chicago. And I remember getting off the bike and hearing 2.5 minutes.
Are you kidding?
It's like, man, how in the world? Because I've just averaged, I had my wattages and things, and I was like, I've really pumped some pretty good wattages here. Maybe I'm just not aerodynamic or whatever. But I remember just going, well, just sprint and see what happens. And I caught him at 5K. And then
caught him with 3 miles. Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then 3 miles. And then I was like, so buggered though. I was so smashed that my last 5K was not the great. I did win it, but it was like, but now I was 3 from 3 and the story gets better. So this is where I went to LA, and I'd won LA the year before. So again, LA had a surf swim, suited me, riding up, into town, and then the hilly run up and down to the Disney Hall. Everything about LA suited me. And I was like, okay. So I went and won LA, but LA was even worse. So Craig Walton had a 3-minute lead.
Oh, jeez.
Off the bike. And I remember thinking, oh, good, the pressure's off. I've won the series. Don't worry about winning the 5 from 5. It's all good. And that was just a snap decision. I remember going, Greg, are you an idiot? Just sprint and see what happens. So again, a bit like Chicago, I just took off and just I managed to catch Craig with about 400 meters to go.
400 meters.
And then he kind of tried to sprint with me to the end. I'm like, really? And then crossed the line with only a couple of second lead. And then everyone's like, oh, did Craig let you win kind of thing? I was like, what? The guy almost killed me. But anyway, those back-to-back races had me now at 4 from 5. And but that night from LA, I flew to Beijing because Laura, my wife, hadn't qualified for 04 Olympics. She was, in 04, she was second at the World Championships and ranked number 2 in the world rankings, but was still left off that 04 team. And so 08, she was determined to make it happen. And Beijing was the trial race for, the 08 Olympics. Sorry. So this was 07, so the year before. And so I was like, I got to be there. So I went over there, and she had a great race and came third and qualified was the first person onto the American team for the 08 Olympics. And so we partied really hard that night. And I still have this 5th race hanging over me in Dallas. Anyway, I come home, and whether it's the partying or the long flights and flying straight after my own race, I injured my Achilles, flared up, and I couldn't run. And so now I'm going to Dallas, and Lifetime, were flying in Ben Sanson to swim with Craig Walton so he could get a bit more of a gap. They were bringing in Bevan Doherty. They were bringing in
are you kidding?
All of the Philip Ospley, and the field was really becoming very stacked in Dallas. I'm injured, didn't run the whole way up to it. When I say didn't run, I was able to jog really, really slow, which in hindsight might have been a really great taper.
Yeah.
But I remember I flew in my chiropractor, Dr. Alex Keith from Florida, and I had another chiropractor in Dallas, Camille. I'm sorry, Camille, I'm forgetting your family name. But anyway, the two of them were in my room from 2 a.m. working my body and getting it all sorted for the race. And I jumped on the bus with everybody at 5:30 to go down at the start after having several hours with my chiropractors. And look, long story short, because I've just taken about 10 minutes of this show telling this, but there's a lot more to this Dallas race, but in the end, I managed to fake it. I ran that first 5K. I just sprinted, opened 30 seconds and was able to hold on and win. And that was a really emotional win. It was like I was fatigued. I was really deeply emotionally, physically, mentally fatigued. And to cross that line was really special.
How did you dig? Even getting on that bus, you had to have doubt in your mind.
It was the best, mate. I remember changing my mindset. I remember going, a lot of people were renting cars to drive down to the start. And I said to Laura and Alex and everybody, I said, no, guys, I'm going to hop on the bus. I want to confront the guys I'm going to battle right away. I want to feel it now. And I remember hopping on the yellow bus and everybody's going, oh, Greg, give me a hard time. It's all yours to lose $500,000 or whatever it is. And I was like, yeah, well, and I just remember saying to myself, this is touch football with your mates, and every now and then one of them's going to tackle you hard. And I changed this mindset from having to win to wanting to play. And it was a game. And
awesome.
I started and then the final piece, I hadn't seen the first part of the race as we drove the bus down to the transition to the swim start area. And all of a sudden it was, about a 3-mile climb out of the swim. And at the gradient I love, around that 4 to 5% gradient, nothing too much, but just and as the bus kept going down and down and down, I'm like, I remember saying to myself, I'm going to win this race. I was like, nobody can ride up that kind of gradient faster than I can. And I'll catch Craig Walton and Andy Potts and anybody that's going to have a lead out of the swim. I'll make it up in this first couple of miles on the bike, and I'll be in the lead by the top of this climb. And I was so excited because I hadn't seen this part of the course. I'd only Google Earthed it. I'd measured it, but I hadn't really taken a notice. And I was like, oh. And that was the first time I'm like, all right.
You kind of saw it.
Yeah, I saw it for sure. And it was then when I hopped on the race, I remember in the swim yelling at myself as I was breathing, like I was just redlining, absolutely redlining. Like if you think of doing an all-out 50-meter sprint, but then going for 1,500 and just going, and I remember just yelling at myself going, this is not a choice. It's not a choice to back off. Not a choice, not a choice. And I just learned that statement. Kind of mantra where you're just like absolutely in agony. And then when I got onto that bike, it was like, okay, it was exhilarating, get going. And then the run, I had other mantras like fake it. Fake it was a big one because I hadn't been running. So it's just kind of like they all believe I'm still running a 30-minute type 10K. So let's end I can. And so there was a lot of self-talk, but it was all fairly positive. Yeah.
But I think that's the big thing that I loved about triathlon, and and even just the training side of it was that self-talk. You learn, you're by yourself. You have to figure out, it's great to have the crowd, but you really have to learn how to talk to yourself appropriately.
Yeah. Isn't it? It's so in your head that, and I've always been one that visualizes quite easily. I'm quite creative, in the sense, and I don't mean visualize, like if I close my eyes, I can actually see things. I'm not one of those people that can do that very well.
Right.
But I feel it. It's probably more like feelizing than visualizing for me.
Ooh, there's a new word. You just created a new word.
Yeah. Feelizing is kind of,
I'm putting it in Wikipedia right now.
I'll put my name to it. There's my claim to fame.
Feelizing.
But it's like, I can feel it. It's like even this morning I was jumping on the treadmill and doing, whatever, some 45-second repeats. And every now and then it's nice to just feel like somebody's on my shoulder, or I'm trying to catch somebody or whatever. And it just helps you get that little bit more out of yourself. And I was able to do that very comfortably in training. And then in racing, I did get pretty stressed. But Laura was fantastic for me in that. And I remember the biggest thing she taught me was like, it's not nerves, it's excitement. And I love that difference because excitement is so positive, right? It's like you want to play, you want to be excited.
Yeah.
But nervousness is almost like, oh, I'm nervous. It's like, we change that mentality. I mean, no, we're excited. We want to play.
It just debilitates you.
Yeah.
No, you're talking about Laura, and she's just an amazing person. I'm looking at one, this had to be probably one of the cooler moments. So it was the inaugural 70.3 in Raleigh in 2013, and you both won.
Mm.
What was that like? Because I mean, that's got to be cool because you guys are connected. I mean, you're a great couple. Everybody's looking at you guys as this pinnacle, and then you go out and you just crush it. How did that feel? I love it.
It was really cool, and thanks for bringing that one up because Laura and I raced quite a lot of races, same kind of races, but my strengths were often very different to hers. So we didn't often get to win the same event. I think we probably did it 4 or 5 times maximum over probably 15, 16 years of being together. So, but that one, the 70.3 in Raleigh that was a really special one because I remember I'd had a decent lead off the bike. I think I had like 5 or 6 minute lead and then took off on the run. And by the time I was coming back on the run, I think I was actually out to about a 13-minute lead. So I had back in the old days, I don't think anybody wins races like that anymore. But back then it was the fields were a bit thinner. But I remember on the way back seeing Laura with a bit of a lead and just being like, oh, that's so fantastic. I really hope she can hold it. So after I crossed the line and then to see her coming in, a little while later, it's just, one of the, it's sometimes great to win, but if your partner's had an average race or not, it's hard for you to be super excited.
Right.
But when you both get to win, it's winning is
cool.
Special. And you don't get to win that often. I don't care who you are. I mean, yes, the Norwegians are winning a lot right now, but even they'll have their time. Like my brother put it best. He says, Greg, it's like you work so hard for so long to rent being the best in the world for a moment in time. And it's like,
that's great.
Yeah. It's like you don't own it. You get to be the best for a little while, or maybe if you're lucky, and maybe even just one race or whatever it is. I was fortunate to have a couple of moments in time where maybe I was the best in the world, for a short period of time. But otherwise, to have those moments with Laura and stuff like that was really special.
And now you guys do Bennett Endurance. You can go to bennettendurance.com. You do speaking, you do consulting.
Yeah, that's a lot of that. You mentioned at the start of the show. Any question? I after I retired in 2016 from full-time racing, I was doing some coaching for a bit, and then like you, we started podcasts almost at the same time. I think we figured you've got like 5 more episodes than me or something.
6 now.
What? 6 more. I just hit the 150 mark.
Not that I'm counting.
Yeah. Not that we're competitive at all. But then, no, I through my podcast, I met a guy by the name of Ed Baker, and, long story short, but basically we decided to build this platform where we're really bringing together all the world's greatest experts, and we really want our, everybody to be able to have access to them, be able to ask them questions, and these experts answer questions via video. We started off with the sport of triathlon. We moved out to endurance sports, healthcare, and all sorts of things. So that's been a lot of things. So
it's a passion play.
Yeah, I haven't had a lot of time to do the speaking. I do love the speaking though, because for me, it's that rush that I miss from this, triathlon. You're standing on the pontoon and the anthem's playing and the anthem stops and it's just like crickets, right? It's quiet. Yeah. And the swim course is just lined with people, and it's like, but all you can hear is almost you breathing and maybe the helicopter above. And you just, you feel your heartbeat, right? And it's like, boom, boom, boom. And you're just like, okay, deep breath. And here we go. And there's a little bit of self-talk and what are you going to do? And, get ready to explode. Your affirmations start kicking in and all of that, right? It's like,
I love that.
To find that, and then the gun goes and it releases you and it's like, bang. And then you have that moment. speaking is about as close as you're ever going to get to that feeling. Actually, it probably even is greater when you hop in front of an audience, even if it's a small audience. It doesn't have to be a packed stadium. But if you can perform, I think it is. It's like a performance, right? It's like I enjoy that feeling of testing myself and being a little bit out of my comfort zone every so often. You know, I'm not saying I love it all the time, but every so often to just test yourself and throw yourself into something. And, you know, for a lot of people, public speaking is the scariest thing of all. But, you know, you don't have to jump straight into being Tony Robbins. It's like start small, you know, talk to yourself, triathlon community, whatever. And you get better and better, and it's exciting. So
I think it's the same as like starting these podcasts. I mean, you're able to tell these stories to other people. Some people may not want to get up in front of people, but still being able to disseminate that information or draw out stories that like, oh man, I didn't think of that story for forever. Yeah. Putting it into an audio, in essence, historical catalog that's what I love about this.
Yeah, I'm the same as you. And you know what I love about the podcast is one, yes, there's that, you know, putting yourself out there, that vulnerability that, you know, and you're like, I don't know, like what people are going to think about me. And it's like, yeah, we'll just do it and just start talking. And maybe some people like it, some people won't, whatever.
Right.
And you give it a go. But I also love there is a creativity to it, you know, that it's like conversation is still an art form, right? And it's still
by far
to have that. And you're very good at it. Like I you know, you and I, you've come on my show and we've had wonderful chats, like I said, offline, but it's trained as well, right? I'm sure you weren't just natural and you've had to sort of build into it.
You have to, the first few are like, oh man, who's going to listen to that?
Yeah. Maybe my mom, maybe
she even mom turns it off, right?
Even mom's like,
ooh, you should try something else.
Yeah. I'll go back to my morning public radio.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, look, and that's honestly how I started. When I was recording my first few, I'd say to myself things like, look, nobody's listening. Maybe mum is. And then I'd hit the record button and take a few deep breaths and away I'd go. And look, I look back now and my first, actually, I don't know, maybe most of them, I don't know. But I look back and I'm a little embarrassed, right? You kind of go,
yeah,
God.
Why did I do that?
Yeah, you just.
What was I talking about? I remember you said like when you began, you're like, I just kept going. And it was like 2-hour podcast.
Oh, I've had plenty of that. I've had Chris McCormack on one. I think my longest with Chris McCormack was 1:50.
That's not surprising though.
It's not surprising. It's hard, you know, to get them under 45 minutes.
It is.
Because I like the conversation. I love having the guests. Whoa, you got another guest in your house there?
I got another guest right here.
Are you going to mute that, or are we going to keep talking about that?
We'll just keep talking. It's good to have just a normal conversation. You know, the dog was asking you a question. He's like, his favorite episode was with Laura on your podcast.
Sure. I think Laura's got a really beautiful voice. And I think she sounds really fantastic. She doesn't love to do it, to be honest. I have to drag her sometimes. She's done a couple of episodes with me, but I enjoy having the last one. The last one we did, I think, was the most relaxed she'd been. But you know, got to remember, I started this podcast when we already had one kid, and then we had a second, and you know, she's pretty frazzled most of the time. So to get her to sit down and have an hour-long conversation with, you know, and have a brain functioning, it's She hasn't loved it when I've put her on the spot going, come on.
How do you go to who takes the kids at that time?
No, usually I think we've had, what have we done? I think we've done one where it was like 3 a.m.
Are you serious?
Kids are asleep.
How do you guys have any functional brain at that time?
Yeah. Well, we both get up. I get up around 3:34 most mornings, and I think Laura's a bit the same. We really say, you know, get up before the enemy. Not that our kids are our enemy. You just get the understanding,
it's a
right?
War.
But it's
like
a war. It's like you get up, and I love those early hours, like between 4 and 6. I can be so productive in that time that my 2 hours at that time is worth 6 later.
That's crazy. Yeah. What? Yeah. Have you always been that way?
Yeah, I've always been a morning person. That's been my thing. And that's why I tell people, everybody out there preaching, you got to get up at 4 a.m. No, just find out when you're most productive and stick to it.
Oh, that's such a great, yeah, that's so true, because I tried to be a morning person, and I am not a morning person.
Yeah. I just wake up, mate. I get tired at 8:30 at night. So I go to bed.
Whatever, Grandpa.
Yeah, whatever, Grandpa. I know, but what are you doing at night?
When do they feed you at the nursing home?
What are you doing after 8:30? I don't even know. I put the kids to bed and I'm like, okay. Laura and I might watch a couple of episodes of Modern Family, which takes like 45 minutes.
Oh, that's
and then we
awesome.
go to bed. I'm like, I actually hit panic buttons if it's not. If I see a 9, I'm like, oh man, tomorrow's ruined.
Oh, I love that. I love that. You know, if we when we meet in person, I'm going to make sure that you stay up until like 9:02.
Oh, mate, it's the worst.
See how it goes. I just want to see the reset button start to go.
I'm so pathetic. I really am. I can drink fine. Alcohol, it doesn't actually affect me too bad. But if it's alcohol and late night, I'm screwed. But I'm a reasonable day drinker.
Oh, I love it. Hey,
not that I'm encouraging people to drink. I'm just saying if you drink.
You're encouraging day drinking. I see.
Yeah, if I do it. If I can still be in bed by 8, I'm usually good to go the next morning.
I want to go back to any question because it's such a cool place to be able to put all these like knowledgeable people that a lot of people don't think that they'd ever have the ability to obtain an answer from.
Yeah.
What is, the premise behind it? Like, how are you allowing these individuals who are just normal people to be able to ask these questions? I want you to dive in a little bit more of like, what does this platform give to these people?
Yeah, well, basically, our purpose simply is to, democratize knowledge and wisdom and insights from just the world's greatest minds that are out there and thought leaders and people that have, the 10,000 hour rule from Malcolm Gladwell, the people that have experienced a lot. It's like, how can we all get access to them? And a lot of these people that have got this experience, that have this knowledge, actually want a place to be able to share it. They can jump on a podcast like yours and mine and chat for an hour and download some information and we can listen to it. But quite often the user has follow-up questions or they have other questions they want to ask. And so it's basically building a platform where we can broker that knowledge, where you have these experts and you have people that want to learn from those experts. And it's like, okay, let's connect them. Ask a question and then they'll answer you a question. We've started with endurance sports, like I said. We've built it out. We have I think we're approaching 600 different experts across 15 different channels. And so it was kind of starting with triathlon and swimming and cycling and running. And then we built out the strength channel and then nutrition and musculoskeletal and the healthcare channel. Photography's really taken off, surfing and hockey.
I love how diverse it is.
Yeah, it really is. It really, well, you think about it, we really want to have anything you can imagine. Pets, we've just started a veterinarian. We're starting to get veterinarian experts so people that have pets can come and ask questions. And, we have some of the world leading cardiologists and physicians that are on answering questions for anything that you want to, if you think about WebMD, but in video form.
Right.
And every one of our answers is, being transcribed. And so
Which
you can.
That's amazing. I was looking at one in the track and field. You look at Gail Devers. I mean, how would you ever get a chance to ask a question to Gail Devers? I mean, that's
awesome.
Amazing.
She's amazing. She's so personable. Michael Johnson's on there again, track and field. You go, some of the amazing athletes, multiple Olympic champions, the world's greatest athletes of all time, and coaches are on there, and they're chatting to you, and it's nothing better when it's like, Michael Johnson's like, "Hey, Greg," and I'm like, Michael Johnson said my name. It's like, it's a real, what we call in the world, we call it a magical moment. And it really is. It's special when these people grab your question and they answer it and they make you feel like, wow, that's kind of cool.
And I think it's cool because it's not like fancy camera work or anything like that. It's literally, they're on their phones talking directly to you. That's what's so cool about it, is it's literally getting that personal conversation.
Oh yeah, some of it's I was one when we were building this out, going, we really got to work on the quality of how it looks and feels and blah blah blah. And look, there's some great content out there. If you got a strength trainer and they've got it positioned their camera in the corner and they're showing you, this is how you move it, and they put it to music, all the better. It's nice to have.
Right.
But some of the great content, like in the triathlon world, Emma Pallant-Brown's in a kitchen and her husband Jared's in the background and she's just chatting to you. And it's like you feel very connected with that person. There's a real
bringing you into their own personal life.
Yeah, that you don't get, when it's put together and they put it on Instagram and they really set it up. And it's like, no, this is like you pick up your phone and you answer some questions and maybe a kid's running around the background or whatever it is. And
or dogs barking.
Dogs barking, like a really poor podcast, if you have a dog.
Yeah, really poor podcast. I don't know who would actually produce that.
But no, that's been one of my favorite things though, is actually, someone like Caleb Dressel. Caleb, again, he's got the kitchen in the background. He's just hanging out and, we're talking about one of the world's greatest ever swimmers. And it's for me personally, it's just been really special to see these people come on board.
Right.
I think I brought on probably about the first 100 or so. And now I miss that part of the company. Actually, I'm not on that front line where I get to meet all these people. And, I kind of go, oh, maybe just once or twice a week. I just want to get on so I can meet. These people are all rock stars, right? They're all achieving.
Oh, I know. It's amazing.
So anyway, we got some interesting channels coming, in the entertainment world. I'm looking forward to where this thing will go.
I love it. I love it. I think it's such a great thing. And then for people to sign up, what do they have to do?
Yeah, well, actually, we have a promo they could use. Go to anyquestion.com/podcast. That'll give you 3 months free. Otherwise, you can just download Any Question, singular, so there's no S on it, but Any Question on iOS or Android, and you can just sign up there. And if you want, you can just go check it out and you get the first hour free. And, go on there in that hour, you can ask questions and you can just look at all the content there. So anybody that's answered a question, we have it already there in the library for you to go listen to it and watch and interact. It's a really great community. That's the other part. We're building a community within our experts, where the experts all talk to each other. We're building out some direct messaging featuring for experts to even cross-channel. So Ed and I were talking about how special it was that I got to meet Ed Baker. He's known in Silicon Valley as being the number one growth expert for how to build a tech company, right?
Yeah.
And he was getting into triathlon, and he got to meet me, and we became connected. So this tech guy and Greg got to meet. So it's almost like the nerd and the jock got to meet and create their own little community. And it's
but you were into computers. You got a degree.
I was, but mate, that's like how many years ago is that? 30 years ago. That was like when I was doing languages like Pascal and COBOL, and anybody that knows computers, that's like using Greek. Speaking Greek now, it's kind of like people are like, what are you talking about?
It's like, I don't know what he's actually talking.
No. And I honestly, it's like I did after that, I kind of did sports marketing degree, and it's like really, it's all erroneous. Everything changed after the internet came and then social media. It's like, I'm a dinosaur.
Well, that's all right. You're not an old dinosaur. You're only, you're only 49, I'm guessing. No, I'm just kidding.
50.
You look no older than 50.
Yeah, there you go. No, I'm almost 51. I've got a 51st coming up. It's getting real.
Oh, is that crazy? Are you ready for it?
Are you in?
I'm 44.
Still a baby.
I'm just a pup. I'm just a pup. You know how it goes.
I know.
So now I want to talk about your family. I mean, how awesome was it to be a dad? I know it's it's exhausting, but how awesome has it been to be a dad and be a husband to a wonderful lady like Laura?
Honestly, it's getting better and better. And what I mean by that is, I guess my narcissism, it was, I was a very self-centered, focused on myself athlete. I mean, it's like, that's what it took. And look, I had Laura and I have been together since 2000. So we had 18 years together before kids. But it was always just about me and Laura. And then you have kids and suddenly your needs come second, right? Yeah. That wasn't something that I gravitated towards very easily. It was kind of like, what? I've loved being around my kids, but being around babies is just a lot of work, and you don't get that much back, in
Nope.
fairness. And us guys, we don't get the physical hormonal responses that, I didn't get a whole bunch of oxytocin that Laura got being a mother. When these mums get these hormonal changes and their body and their love that they feel with this newborn is just off the charts.
Right.
Whereas us guys kind of stand by the side and go, okay, I got to provide and protect, right? I got to provide and protect.
Yeah.
But this little dough ball is like, but how do I?
You just said dough ball. I love that.
but it's like now I got, one of my oldest is turning 5 shortly, and my younger guy, he'll be turning 3. Well, now we go out and bike and we wrestle, and there's like they're becoming my mates. And don't get me wrong, I'm still their dad, but I get to do stuff with them, and that's becoming more and more and more fun. And I tell every guy, a first-time dad, I'm like, look, it's not a Hollywood moment when your wife has the baby that you're just going to feel this amazing joy and overwhelming, unbelievable feeling. It can feel a little bit like, okay, get your shit together, and it can change your perspective, but don't feel like it's going to be so joyful. It's a joyful moment that it's healthy and everything else, and you recognize it and you're grateful for so many things, but it's not crossing the finishing line in a major race knowing you've had an outstanding performance and throwing your hands in the air moment, right? Which is an emotional joy. It's different. It's a very different feeling. It's like, you're going to get real now. You got to man up. So for me, it was that. And I know for us, our first, that were during COVID years. So we all spent a lot of time together. Wow. And I have a really strong connection with the whole family. Laura, honestly, I am so blessed with her. She's off the chart. I do my, I practice gratefulness.
You did good work.
I practice gratefulness every morning, and I start with myself. Just because it's an easier, the template I use as I go through, and I start with being grateful for my health and my cognitive clarity and my, having 2 limbs and some basic stuff, right? I mean, like 4 limbs, I should say, 2 legs, 2 arms. But I go through that, but then I always go to Laura next, and I'm just like, wow, the way she runs the house, the way she looks after the kids, she still looks absolutely gorgeous as a wife, and it's like, and she does all of that so well. And then she's also in my corner and always has my back and is always making me a better man, like inspiring me, just making me feel good about who I am. So I really am grateful for that. And then I go and be grateful for the kids, and then I expand out to the bigger family, and then I go to be grateful to my work and this opportunity to speak to Rob today. And you go through this gratefulness, and I do that while I sit in the sauna every morning. And I tell you, it's not lost on me how wonderful life can be when you're surrounded by good people.
It's so true. A lot of times we miss out on those little opportunities to realize what we have.
Yeah, but it's a practice. It's a practice. I don't let myself not be grateful in the morning.
Right.
Practicing gratefulness isn't just something that I think you go, oh yeah, I'll just go do it. No. You set, when are you going to do it? What time of day, and make it happen.
So many people hear that, and I know a lot of guys probably hear that and they're like, oh, that's fluffy. But it's not really fluffy,
I'm not saying you have to do it. I'm not saying,
but it's not fluffy though.
No, it's not fluffy. It makes me feel good, and it makes me, often it just helps with perspective.
Yeah.
It really does. It's like, sometimes you're doing something like, oh, do I really want to be doing that? And like, whoa, listen to you. You got a roof over your head and running water.
Yeah.
Like, start with that. Right. And then move out, and you suddenly go, okay, I've got that good. All right. Life's actually pretty decent. And I'm not telling people they have to do it. I just like to do it. That's all.
How do you transition? So, you seem like an entrepreneur, like the entrepreneur mindset. How did your sport, doing your sport, transition you to that? Because everything you have is, you're more calm. You're more tactical in it. Whereas like a lot of times, like when you're talking about your sport, it was in the moment, you had to just perform. You had to find a way to do it. How did you transition from that to now being more of a tactical entrepreneur and dad?
Well, I think a lot of it's age and experience. But I think you do become better at managing expectations and managing your ego, right? I mean,
right. Yeah.
I think, and note I said manage. I don't think they should ever leave us, but having an ego is important. It gets you out of bed. It's a driver, being competitive. And I don't think they're bad qualities. I think they're only bad if you can't manage them right. And expectations the same. It's like, I don't mind having decent expectations. They give me anxiety. And I don't look at anxiety as all bad if you can use it as fuel to fix the problem that's in front of you, right?
Right.
It's just a problem if you can't manage it. And so I'm constantly sort of figuring out how, and don't get me wrong, I am so far from perfect, Rob. I come on this podcast, it sounds like I've got all this wisdom.
No, come on. You're making it out to be that you're not perfect. And we all know that you are. I mean, come on.
Mate, I'm telling you, I'm choking on a nut right now. That's how unperfect I am.
Don't be dying on me now.
Who starts a podcast recording and has a bunch of nuts before they jump on? Dumbest mistake ever. Anybody that's jumping onto a podcast, do not eat nuts ever.
The only thing worse that you could have is peanut butter.
Have you done that?
No,
well, this is a nutty peanut butter ball. I think I've got the combo. Listen to my voice. I just.
This is priceless. This is pretty much our conversation that we usually have.
There we go. Am I better?
Yeah,
I'm a little bit better.
You got it? You good?
Yeah. The nut didn't come flying out, but I think I washed it down.
This is normal for us. I like that everybody's getting our normal kind of conversation.
Yeah. Is anybody still listening now?
I don't know. We'll see. I'm hearing the crickets, but it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
No, well, it's always wonderful to chat.
I love it. Well, it's been such an honor to have you on, and I want to make sure everybody goes to anyquestion.com. I'm blessed to be a part of that and starting to create some
we're very
channels.
excited to have you on. I'm going to help us out with bringing on first responders and military and all of those kind of people. So
a lot of cool things that come from that, and I think it's just a wealth of knowledge. And definitely anybody that needs to find another podcast, not fall asleep with mine, but go to the Greg Bennett Show. That's a great podcast. And definitely thanks so much for being on. And I've got 3 questions for you. I always end with the same 3 questions. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right. If you could go back to your 18-year-old self, what would be one piece of advice you'd give yourself?
Best piece. I think I would say nobody's got their shit together. Everybody's bullshitting. And and there's no need to be so insecure. Be yourself, and it's all going to be okay. Yeah, I think that's kind of it. I think I was always a bit insecure and didn't feel confident in my own self, but I've realized nobody is.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I think a lot of kids growing up nowadays, that's a huge thing for them to learn. All right, second one. A lot of people going through challenges and struggles, and what would be 2 things that you would say incorporate into their daily habits that can continue them to move forward?
Well, I think we discussed one already. I think practice being grateful.
Right.
I think make that something, make yourself do it, and set up a template like I talked about. I do myself, I do my family, and then I do work, and I step through them all, and I go through. And it takes a few minutes, and you just say, "Hey, I'm really grateful for that." And so that one, and then I would say, I think the best thing I've found is if you're ever in a bit of a funk, is to do something good for somebody else.
That's great.
When you're down and in a slump, don't put yourself first. Step away from yourself and try and do good to others. And it's amazing how that'll make you feel.
I love those 2.
Yeah.
Those are perfect. This last one's going to be fun because I have no idea where you're going to go with this. All right. If you could have coffee at a firehouse table, meaning no questions off the table they have to answer, who would those 3 people be? They can be deceased or alive. Who would those 3 people be and why?
Oh, bloody hell!
I know. I'm challenging you early.
People that I'd want to have on my coffee table for a chat.
Well, not on the coffee table. They can have coffee at a table.
Okay. I'm a massive fan of The Rock.
Oh, that'd be good.
I think I'd like to have him on the table. I think I'd need maybe a comedian. I think Bill Burr would be hilarious on that table.
This is a good table. I want to.
Yeah, I'd want to do something that's a little bit off here. God, it really would be cool to have Jesus Christ there, and not to be all religious on everybody, but just to be.
Yeah,
I mean, he is affecting billions of people around the world right now, and just to be able to have The Rock, Bill Burr, and I question Jesus, that'd be pretty cool.
Bill Burr that's a classic one.
he would hold no punches, would he?
That would be the greatest table ever.
I'm sorry. That is just straight. You didn't send me these questions. Did you send me these questions previously?
No, I don't. I don't send any questions.
On the spot. I'm sure I'm gonna. As soon as I hang up, I'm gonna go. I should have said so and so.
This is what I love about these questions, is because it's so real. I've had other people do Jesus, and it's perfect. It's like, yeah, a lot of people have questions.
Yeah,
but then you put Bill Burr and The Rock in there. Who knows where that's going to go?
Oh, mate, this has been a blast, Rob. Thanks for having me on. It really is an honor. So,
no problem. Thanks so much again. I appreciate it, Greg. And make sure you go to anyquestion.com and find out more about that great platform. And definitely join us next time.
Thanks for listening and supporting the Forged in the Fires podcast with Fireman Rob. Remember, don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast, and please share this episode with a friend or family. To find out more about Fireman Rob or reach out about a question, go to www.firemanrob.com. Until next time, live your life forged in the fires.